Yamcha, perhaps the biggest punching bag in all of anime history, not invited to the Tournament of Power, and mostly remembered outside of the fandom for dying against the Cyberman. Even the franchise itself can't help but knock him down, with multiple Dokkan cards specifically made just to make fun of him failing. Despite all of this, he's also a cherished character with a ton of fans, and even through constant ridicule, he's the only human Z fighter to have ever gotten his own spin-off manga. In 2016, Shonen Jump Plus published That Time I Got Reincarnated as Yamcha, an Elseworld story parodying popular isekai at the time, like That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, but in the Dragon Ball world. Drawn by the popular fan artist Dragon Garo Lee in his official Dragon Ball debut. This is absolutely one of my favorite and most hilarious pieces of Dragon Ball media outside of the original manga. This story is sometimes told out of order, so I'll reorder it to streamline the chronology a little bit. So let's dive into the manga, and while you enjoy it, think to yourself, what would you do if you were reincarnated as Yamcha? We open with a small recap of the characters and the original story, where our hero Yamcha went from a thief alongside Puar to joining Goku, overcoming his fear of women and getting with Bulma. Though years later he'd die at the hands of the Cybermen, and his habit of cheating on Bulma ruined his relationship. But this time, things will go differently. Also, this translates Cyberman as cultivar, which just feels wrong. Anyways, we open in the real world, our world. Two Japanese high school students are talking about the new Dragon Ball attraction at Universal Studios Japan, the Real 4D. This was actually a real 4D show they used to have. Our protagonist, who goes unnamed, wants to take some girls to the park, daydreaming about being with a girl who likes Dragon Ball. He's just like me for real. Turns out he's also a Dokkan Battle player, or Dogan Battle, I guess. Yamcha is apparently a really strong character in the game currently. Surely that's not foreshadowing anything. His friend then points out a girl with a real short skirt, and in his excitement to go look at her, he trips and falls over the stairs, and everything goes black. As he opens his eyes, he sees a familiar mushroom desert. He freaks out as he looks at his clothes, and looks at himself in a mirror. He's missing a tooth. At first, he assumes that he was in the 4D attraction. It just happened to be very realistic, but he slowly realizes isekai had become very popular. Did that just happen to him? Did he die for being a pervert? He falls to his knees and cries out, "Why Yamcha? Why not Goku or Vegeta?" But his thoughts get interrupted by Oolong. Yamcha realizes that he's at the tail end of the Pilaf arc and looks around to see Goku and Bulma, instantly falling head over heels for her, and remembers that Yamcha does indeed end up with her, but he gets dumped for cheating. But it's not like that could happen to him. He is a Bulma guy for life. The characters start to say things from the original story, like Oolong wondering if Goku is an alien, one of Toriyama's accidental foreshadowings, to which Yamcha thinks to himself, Oolong's so smart, yes, he's a Saiyan. He starts to try and fit into his role, having to consciously fall over after Goku quickly gets over losing his tail, and giggling happily with Bulma since they found each other. At first, everything is great. He gets to do everything a Dragon Ball fan would want, use capsules, promises to see Goku at the World Tournament before he even knows what that is. But then he realizes that he's going to die in a few years against the Cybermen. But as a Dragon Ball fan, he knows that this is a turning point. He has a chance to change things. Will he choose to have his happiness with Bulma, or guarantee newfound power by joining Goku? Taking Bulma's hand, he tells her that he will come back for her, but first, he needs to become strong to secure their future. Perhaps he could become the strongest human, and so they wave goodbye, with Yamcha holding on tightly to Goku as they fly off towards Kame House. The next page actually jumps way ahead in time into the Saiyan arc, with some of the story being told out of order. On top of that, Lee actually includes many small illustrations in the book and some outside of it to fill in some of the gaps. So let's continue chronologically. In a flashback, we see that Yamcha and Puar were there, right alongside Krillin and Goku during Roshi's milk delivery training. I wonder if Puar got stronger too. We also see that he climbed up Korin Tower earlier to catch Korin, so maybe he accompanied Goku in the search for the Dragon Balls during that Red Ribbon Army arc. I'm sure he also stole a bunch of senzu beans ahead of Yajirobe. The artist actually posted rough drafts of this adventure prior to Chapter 2 releasing, but these sadly never appear in the actual story. A bonus illustration between Chapters 1 and 2 shows Yamcha in the middle of the fight against Invisible Man, getting excited as he knows that Krillin is about to pull down Bulma's top so that Roshi nosebleeds all over the invisible fighter. Very classy. Another flashback shows Yamcha drinking the Ultra Divine Water, the special drink that awoke the potential within Goku during the King Piccolo arc. Then, in the back of the cover, we can see that Yamcha made it to the King's castle and actually defeated Drum with his newly awoken power, as opposed to the demon beating Tien. And so, years pass. And just like with most Dragon Ball fans, we largely skip the original series and get to the Saiyan arc. We find Yamcha atop Kami's lookout. Goku and Piccolo just finished fighting Raditz, and Kami took Goku to Otherworld so he could train with King Kai. It seems like Yamcha has already been training with Kami for a few years at this point, which makes me wonder why he didn't decide to help against Raditz. Goku would have definitely survived. But maybe he wanted to guarantee the Kaioken and the Spirit Bomb. Despite all his training through the years though, he knows that it's still not going to be enough. So he turns to Mr. Popo. With his help, he locates Kami's old spaceship, gets it repaired by Capsule Corp, and travels to planet Namek. Once there, he makes his way to the Grand Elder's home and humbly requests his help at further awakening his potential. The Grand Elder first reads into his heart, and he can actually see that his soul belongs to a different universe, and his reasoning to try and defy destiny is to survive the battles ahead. With that, Guru awakens Yamcha's hidden power, with tremendous strength coursing through his veins. But since there's still a lot of time before the Saiyans get to Earth, he asks Nail to help him train. The Namekian agrees at the Grand Elder's request, as he knows that Yamcha could change the destiny of planet Namek. Thus, Yamcha lived on Namek for several months, training with Nail and sleeping in the ship. Then, 1 month after the Saiyans were to arrive, Yamcha gets woken up by Bulma. The Saiyans are actually getting to Earth tomorrow, a lot earlier than expected. That's when he remembers that in the manga, the Saiyans did indeed arrive ahead of schedule. He had forgotten about it, and thought that it was exactly a year. See, this is why I would have been a better reincarnated Yamcha. I would have remembered. With no other choice, Yamcha approaches the Grand Elder with a request. He needed the Dragon Balls. As a special favor, Nail gets the Dragon Balls and asks Purunga to teleport Yamcha back to Earth. I like this shot of them waving goodbye. I like to think they really did become friends. Once on Earth, Yamcha immediately senses the Saiyans, and as he rushes out, Krillin and Tien detect his energy, realizing how much he's grown. Even Chaiotzu looks nervous. Surely, he knows how far behind he's falling. Yamcha is confident that this time things will go differently. He's no longer the regular old Yamcha. He will survive. Just as the the cultivars sprout from the ground, Yamcha lands. Vegeta says that they can fight one-on-one against each of the Cybermen, but Yamcha calls him out. Hey Vegeta, quit playing around and get this over with. I'm more than enough. I'll take on all 6 of them. Krillin is terrified for Yamcha, but probably because he used the Thumb of Death. Still, he's confident in his training. Vegeta orders the Cybermen to attack at once, but they stop dead in their tracks once the first one is swiftly defeated when Yamcha blows his head clean off. Vegeta yells at them to get back in there, and they overwhelm Yamcha by attaching themselves to him and exploding. A single Cyberman killed Yamcha in the original story, and this was 5 times worse. The Z fighters can't believe it, and Krillin runs to his friend's side, but the smoke clears to reveal Yamcha doesn't even have a scratch on him. Even Piccolo is impressed, and with no time to waste, Yamcha begins to raise his aura more and more. Nappa snaps his head back and asks Vegeta what this puny human's power level is. Angry and surprised, Vegeta breaks his scouter. It's over 10,000! What, 10,000? There's no way that can be right, that thing's a piece of junk! But it's no mistake, it's the power he's obtained since being reincarnated. Vegeta's taken aback by this claim, but Nappa wastes no time in attacking the human, only to be defeated with a powerful Kamehameha. We skip ahead into the middle of the fight against Vegeta, as Goku and Yamcha have teamed up. This is actually a post-Ozaru Vegeta, as he's missing a tail, and we see in a bonus illustration that Yamcha had brought his bandit sword from his past to cut off the monkey tail. So Goku and Yamcha are at a better spot than in the original story. Goku doesn't have his limbs broken. The other Z fighters seem to have retreated. I like to think that Yamcha warned Piccolo that if he dies, then so will the Dragon Balls and Kami, and for once, respecting Yamcha's power, he actually listened. Yamcha forms a plan. He'll attack Vegeta with everything he's got to create an opening for Goku. But despite being so much stronger than normal, Vegeta's still able to push back. All that's keeping Yamcha moving forward is his desire to not let Vegeta end up with Bulma, and he starts to yell that out. while Vegeta's just confused that who the heck Bulma even is. Yamcha kicks Vegeta in the face, staggering him back. The human smirks, thinking to himself how much he wishes he could show Vegeta his bingo dance from Battle of Gods. But then it hits him, pulling a Qui. Yamcha yells out, "Look, it's Beerus, the god of destruction!" Vegeta actually gets scared for a second and looks back, allowing Yamcha to kick him away and for Goku to blast him away with a Kamehameha. With that, Goku falls on his back with no energy left. Yamcha runs to help Goku, talking about the battles, how everyone survived, and the kind of training Yamcha did, as he thinks to himself that he'll have to go back and thank the Namekians. He then hears Vegeta's space pod blast out into space, and he's about to shoot it down, but Goku tells him to stop, as he wants to face Vegeta again one day. Yamcha is dead set on destroying it, so he can be happy in the Dragon World, but he realizes something. He would be dooming Trunks, Vegeta's change, and any of the good they end up doing for Earth. If he does this, Goku will die of the heart virus, and the androids will destroy humanity. He puts his arm down. Does this mean not only will he lose Bulma, but he'll also have to keep fighting these impossible odds forever? From the Frieza arc onwards, the humans fall further behind in power. Frieza, Cell, Buu, he's not gonna stand a chance. Goku's excited about stronger fighters being out there, while Yamcha is terrified. We then cut to Kami at the lookout. He's glad that Yamcha was there to help Goku, but now he's wondering to himself if Yamcha has noticed that there is another Z fighter with very similar ki to him. We don't see who, but whoever it is, has now realized that Yamcha too has been reincarnated. I love the panel of the Z fighters walking away from the battles still alive. From here we once again jump ahead in time, and we don't see any of the Frieza arc, though we get a hint of what happened. Yamcha mentioned that he wanted to thank the Namekians, but I think that this Yamcha told the others that they had to visit Namek, warning them about Frieza going there to attack the planet. The back cover includes a bonus illustration of Yamcha taking down Birder. Dragon Garo Lee also made other drawings of Yamcha vs Frieza Force members, and even one of him beating Frieza, though these aren't in the actual book. Either way, it looks like the battles may have gone as normal, give or take a few extra characters, since we skip ahead to the moment right after Trunks warns Goku about the heart virus and the androids. Goku tells Bulma to take care of the baby, leaving everyone confused. Yamcha now realizes that since Trunks appeared, his destiny with Bulma might be sealed, but he can't bring himself to give her up. He tries to convince himself that there's nothing wrong with a world where Yamcha and Bulma end up together, and sets his mind on confessing his love. But he first needs to ask for someone's help, since he's never done something like this, not even in real life. He stirs the options in his mind. Goku skips straight to marriage. Gohan's still a kid. Piccolo has no concept of dating. Tien is too stoic, though he does wonder how Launch is doing. Roshi's wise but too perverted. He actually ends up thinking that Turtle might be the best option, but then he realizes just exactly who to go to. He lands at Kame House, asking Krillin for some advice. Krillin's surprised that he hasn't sealed the deal with Bulma yet, but advises him that getting a new haircut and ditching the gi every now and then would probably help him. Roshi interjects to say something extremely wise, or so they think, but ends up saying that if Yamcha and Bulma end up together, then Yamcha's gonna be able to grope her whenever. Again, very classy. Krillin's a bit sad that he hasn't had a girlfriend yet, but Yamcha guarantees him that he'll meet someone nice in 3 years, blasting off to get a makeover. Dressed in a suit with short hair, he's about to go back to West City when he stumbles upon a hostage situation. One of the cops wishes a hero could save them, so Yamcha, wanting to show off, quickly takes down the 2 criminals and saves the girl. The cops want to reward him, and the girl wants to take him out on a date, but he speeds off to West City. There are plenty of cute girls in the Dragon World, but his number one is Bulma. Yamcha gets to Capsule Corp, where Bulma's mom compliments him. He makes it to the gravity room, seeing Vegeta walk out of there all beat up. Bulma throws him a water bottle and tells him to go eat the food she cooked. Vegeta tells her that he didn't ask for food, but it's clear that there's already something going on between them. You could cut the tension with a knife. Yamcha's heart is pounding fast as he follows Vegeta outside and instantly jumps at him to fight, but is easily taken down with a single punch. But that punch also knocks some sense into him, and while he lays on the ground, he whispers to himself that now he can finally get over Bulma. He only hopes that Vegeta takes good care of her. And so, the day of the android's attack arrives. We see in a bonus illustration that Yamcha was cautious about protecting his chest from androids 19 and 20. But we don't see much else about this section of the story, since we instead move on to the Cell games, with the Z fighters landing and waiting for it to begin. Yamcha rushes out of his home. Puar wishes him good luck, as he's ready for his most difficult battle yet. But he doesn't make make it to the Cell Games arena. Instead, he lands at the Wasteland, where Tien and Chaiotzu train. Chaozu's confused. Why isn't he at the Cell Games? Yamcha says that he won't be much use there. After all, Gohan's got it all handled. But he already knew that, didn't he? Because Chaiotzu too has been reincarnated into this world. The small man gives up the facade. But how long had Yamcha known? Turns out, there were a few hints in stories we never saw. Chaiotzu didn't mess up Krillin's math problem at the World Tournament, like the original one did, and he ignored Tien when he told him to make the wish before King Piccolo could. Otherwise, he would have died like in the original manga. Apparently, he even tried to steal the Dragon Balls on planet Namek, something which Yamcha had to cover up. I'm pretty sure this is supposed to take place during the Frieza arc, and not during the time Yamcha was on Namek. Chaiotzu says that knowing how to summon Porunga is easy for a true fan. Takarapot Poporunga Pupirito Paro, by the way. Turns out Chaiotzu was once known as a superfan gamer called the King. He calls Yamcha out for using his Dragon Ball knowledge to his advantage. But Yamcha did it to survive, not for a selfish wish. Chaiotzu explains that he tried to play nicely at first, but he's died over and over again, being reincarnated into Chaiotzu countless times. Yamcha had no idea of the possibility of doing this time and time again. Chaiotzu says that he used to be the best student, always on top. So he's given up. Now he wants to be the bad guy and take over the world. It must be nice being Yamcha. Handsome, strong, good with the ladies. What does Chaiotzu have? Maybe he's cute, I guess? Chaiotzu attacks, using his psychic skills to destroy the area around him. It's really cool to see a fight like this with great art. It's such a weird matchup. Yamcha uses his Wolf Fang fist to break apart the rocks flying at him, but Chaiotzu sneaks up behind him, dodges a punch, and blasts a clean Dodonpa through his chest. But as Chaiotzu tries to finish him off, Yamcha dodges. He had stolen some senzu beans before Yajirobe could have ever gotten to eat them, saving some for himself. Clever, but Chaiotzu summons the bag towards him, and then twists and turns his insides. He can't trick him with a math question like the real Chaiotzu, but Yamcha does think of something. Quick! What's Yamcha's birthday? This works, and Chaiotzu stops himself to think about it. He knew it was March, but what day? It's March 20th, by the way, as established in Weekly Shonen Jump, 1986, issue 37. Chaiotzu guessed March 2nd, but Yamcha appears above him and slams him down. It was March 20th. Hey, that's what I said. Am I really him? Yamcha can't bring himself to kill him, but he will stop him, taking a small jar out of a capsule. The Wolf Bandit uses the Mafuba. It works at first. While far away at the Cell Games, Piccolo senses the battle, Nail and Kami within him having both already known of his real identity. But Yamcha remembers what his enemy said before. He was known as the King? He drops the Mafuba, and he asks the surprised Chaiotzu, was he the same King who was the #1 Dokkan battle player? Yeah, he was. And the one time Yamcha got the top rank in Dokkan was when King didn't play. This slows things down, and the two sit down to talk. Turns out King was focused on school at the time and didn't get to log in. They recall how they used to spend all their money on Dragon Ball merch. Lots of figures. Chaiotzu begins to cry. He really loves Dragon Ball. He was wrong! From now on, he will be a better Chaiotzu. But what about Yamcha? He could end up marrying Bulma if he played his cards right. I guess to Trunks he'd be the father that stepped up. But no, he's gonna be a lone wolf. He knows that he won't be of much use now, but at least he can enjoy living as Yamcha. But they get killed by Majin Buu in 7 years, remember? Although a terrifying prospect, Yamcha and Chaiotzu can't help but laugh at what their life is now. And as they smile, we cut away to a mysterious planet, with Lord Beerus slamming his fist down on the table. How can Yamcha laugh like that? He was so close to winning the reincarnation game. Champa says that it's a draw, so Beerus just destroys the entire board. The two brothers keep arguing as the souls are released. Vados and Whis realize that they should probably put them back. So, our hero wakes up. Back in the real world, moments after he was hit. His friend asks him if he's okay, and he is. But as the girl with a short skirt walks by, he casually waves his hand, unleashing a kiai of wind and lifting her skirt up. The power of Yamcha dormant within him. His friend laughs, thinking for a second that he really did that. But don't be silly. This isn't Dragon Ball. Though he'll never forget his time in the Dragon World, fighting alongside Goku, falling in love with Bulma, and pushing himself beyond any expectation. And his wallpaper is now Bulma. His friend makes fun of him for it, but he can't help it. His heart skips a beat every time he looks at her. Falling in love with a 2D character isn't cool, but they'll never understand him. And that was the entire story of that time I got reincarnated as Yamcha. Remember, I rearranged things to try and tell a more complete and cohesive story, as opposed to the disconnected bits of the original release. Since that was a special digital-only short series, and somewhat of an experiment. Honestly, I can't believe it exists, and I wish we got more. But there was one extra chapter which I felt didn't quite fit right within the story itself, but it would have happened while Chaiotzu and Yamcha became friends. Yamcha has an idea. Why don't they try the fusion dance? It would be a good idea. They'd be able to defeat the Cell Juniors. But don't they need similar height and power? Yamcha almost gives up on the idea, but Chaiotzu remembers that there once was a video game where the characters could fuse using special Menamo bands, which Bulma made. Dragon Ball Fusions for the Nintendo 3DS. The two get excited at the idea, so they hurry back at Kame House, where Bulma makes them those same bands. They practice the dance for a bit, and get it right on the first round, with a huge explosion of power giving birth to a new being. Now they can go to the Cell Games. They wonder what their name should be. Yamzu or Chao-Cha? Then they look at themselves in the mirror and choose to never fuse again. Now that was the entire story of that time I was reincarnated as Yamcha. Funny enough, you think he never appeared anywhere else, but he actually has a Dragon Ball Heroes card, which I believe came with the manga in Japan. Plus, he's in World Mission, so if you own that game, you can play as this version of Yamcha. Let me know in the comments what you would do if you got reincarnated as him. Knowing what we know about Super now, I'd honestly try to find Broly and become friends with him. Probably not bring him to Earth though, he might just destroy it. Also, I didn't point it out, but did you notice that this Yamcha didn't get his scars? I guess he was smart enough to avoid whatever caused them, but honestly, I think he looks cooler with them. Be sure to wall fang fist that subscribe button, and if you're looking for more deep dives into Dragon Ball, check out my video on the other funniest Dragon Ball manga you've probably never read, Dragon Ball SD.